Hello, everyone. Happy holidays from Nerdporeal Lifeform. So, before we begin, I have an intro video that I want to set up. So, without further ado, let me begin. 'Tis the end of the year. Humanity has been through the ringer and accomplished a lot. As we work and fulfill our responsibilities, it bears a great weight on the human soul. 'Tis now time to begin the cheer of Christmas on this time of winter solstice, to come together and bring glory to God, whether it be in person or online. To spread the holiday cheer to people of all faiths and backgrounds, let us share the true meaning of Christmas to bring great joy to others, whether it be in giving or in tidings. As we have a Merry Christmas, let that shining star in the east know no bounds. I hereby welcome you to bring you good cheer as we enter the Nerdporeal Christmas carols. Well, what'd you think? Well, I'm not alone this time, so I got two guests with me. First guest is his first time ever on a stream. You might have seen him in the chats. He goes by the name of Brian, but this time he is the bad Brian. So everybody say hello to Brian with a Y. How you doing?
I'm awesome.
So, what brings you here? Oh, wait, I invited you.
Yeah.
So you excited to talk about some Christmas stories and stuff?
Yeah.
All right. All right, and the next one, last but most certainly not least, you've seen him before. We've talked Metroid, we've talked James Bond, we've even talked Halloween Kills. You remember him? He is Marty, the father. So, how you doing, Marty?
Hello, everybody. Doing great. Happy to be here.
So I figure the first thing we do is I will talk about the charity. So the charity for this stream is called Santa's Volunteers. It's basically every year someone this started way back in the 50s. I think it was 1956. Someone just was visiting, or was someone was visiting a person. I forget the situation. I think they were trying to fix the refrigerator, and the woman didn't have any food, and she ended up crying. So the guy that did this went and bought her food so that she could eat for the holiday. And he and a bunch of other people basically started this charity together. So this is a charity in Chicagoland. They basically provide food, mainly your turkeys, your cranberries, your typical Thanksgiving type of dinner. They provide clothing like blankets and stuff to keep you warm. And if there's children involved, there will be toys. So I felt this was a decent little Christmas charity to donate to. So that's what this charity is. The link, if you want information about the charity, the link is in there. And there's also a link, the Spot Fund Me, that is where you go to donate if you're interested. And if you can donate, I will add you to my little wheel. I will share my screen. I'll add you to this wheel, and you can win some giveaways. So tonight's giveaways are going to be a Nerdporeal mug for all your coffee or hot cocoa drinking needs, a tumbler, a Nerdporeal tumbler, a Nerdporeal t-shirt, a Nerdporeal hoodie, and last but not least, I have a Blu-ray to give away, and it's the Alien Quadrilogy. So it's the first 4 Alien movies on a Blu-ray. So those are the 5 giveaways I'm going to give tonight. So without further ado, What should we talk about first? You guys think? Do you guys think Christmas is your favorite holiday?
That's a good question. Probably, I don't know. Probably.
I know it's mine, mainly
I
because of
can
the
say
mainly
with
because of the presents.
I will say without a shadow of a doubt it's mine.
So, like, I would like to talk about. Let's talk about Christmas traditions in particular. So, I was just like, for me, we never really, my family, we never really go out. We always stay home. We usually celebrate Christmas Eve is usually either seafood or there's Polish food like Polish sausage, pierogies, uh, sauerkraut, the works. And then Christmas Day, we end up having, I end up making another turkey and stuff. So it'll be like Thanksgiving 2.0, but with a slightly different stuffing than usual. So about you guys?
Uh, Food wise, it's hard. It changes every year. I like cooking, so if I can make a big meal myself, it's like either a ham or a turkey, um, and like 40 pounds of mashed potatoes and
Yeah, same here.
mac and cheese. Um, I don't do the stuffing. I don't know why, because stuffing is great. A ton of biscuits, lots of gravy everywhere. Yeah,
That's
and
awesome,
then
man.
yeah,
I've never, we used to have, my grandmother used to make Parker House rolls with the dinner. I was considering buying some and making them just for the sake of trying to recreate one of my grandmother's meals. I always forget to, I always forget to do it. But I did try to recreate her stuffing for Christmas by putting like a lot of cinnamon and a lot of apples and maybe a little bit of sugar to make it a little bit sweeter than usual. But that's what I've been doing the last few years in terms of food wise. So, how about you, Marty?
Well, so for me growing up, it was always like you, Brian, Brian Nerdporeal, Brian with an I. I guess the mediocre Brian, not the bad Brian.
A good
Um,
one.
we were always stay at home family for the most part. Um, we would, stay up late, watch Christmas movies, talk about Santa Claus coming, getting very, very excited, going to bed early with the hopes that, maybe we'd get an extra gift. The Christmas magic was very real in my house. And to kind of answer your previous question, Nerdporeal, um, Christmas for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, is my favorite holiday. It's my favorite time of the year, even though it's, weather wise isn't great. I love everything about it. And, I think those emotions are deeply tied to nostalgia, which I think is a very important emotion for both you and I. But in the morning, we would get up, crack acid dawn, wake up the parents, see that Santa Claus ate all the cookies, the reindeer ate the celery and carrots, and then we would open our gifts, have a little bit of time to play with them. Then we'd be off to church. And then actually in the evening, we would visit both my grandmothers. And then the celebration would continue. But now, being in a kind of like a multicultural household, my wife is a Latina. She's Mexican and Salvadorian, where their focus on Christmas is Christmas Eve, where as a kid, the celebration for us was always in the on the actual day. So now, what we do, food wise, Christmas Eve, we make tamales and pozole. Um, Pozole being a awesome Mexican soup. And then in the morning, we kind of do the traditions I grew up with. And you know, I have a little toddler here I brought along, and we're trying to include him in all these traditions. And, it's really cool. And I'm sure, uh, Brian with a Y, you could, agree that seeing Christmas again through your kid's eyes is like experiencing it again as a child. So I love Christmas, love everything about it. And as soon as Thanksgiving's over, I'm watching Charlie Brown Christmas every day, a Christmas movie every day. I, love Christmas decorations. It's just a great time of year.
I forget, you go overboard, right, with your Christmas decorations, right? You like decorate the lights outside the house and stuff, and the bushes, even in the awnings and stuff. Marty?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I go like, yeah, I wouldn't say that I go overboard.
Not like Clark Griswold level overboard.
Yeah. No. But I definitely, I mean, we have 2 Christmas trees. I get on the roof. I put, stuff on the gutters, but nothing too crazy. It's definitely tasteful. It's not so much that it would piss Charlie Brown off.
Oh, of course not.
See, I was always the same way. I liked outdoor decorations. Was kind of like we did some, but not a ton. But the tree was just like covered in lights. I always like having the real tree, and we always end up with like 10,000 lights on it. You can barely even see the needles with how many lights are shining off it. That was always like one of my favorite things to do. And yeah, like what you were saying with having a kid now, it's like you almost want to go overboard because you want to make it extra magical on like everything you do. Like more food, more like decorations, more gifts, more planning, more like the elf on the shelf and stuff, the books, everything. You just want to go like way over the top.
All right. Yes. So my tradition, like I believed, I'll be honest, until I think I was 7 or 8. I'm going to assume 8. Believe it or not, I believed in Santa Claus. So so all those years, so like me getting the NES for the first time.
I was 9, bro. I was 9 years old.
Really? And I got the NES and Super NES, Super Mario World, and all that. Super Mario Kart and Turtles in Time. I thought that Santa Claus brought those, and the story that my folks came up with was that Santa has to buy the stuff or something from the stores in order to deliver them, and my parents had to go talk to him, give him my letter. So I always wrote a Dear Santa letter, and then I give it to my parents, and then my parents would claim to take it to Santa Claus at in my case, the Harlem Irving Plaza in Chicago. So so all those years, like it's weird, like I'm like I remember being a toddler. I remember seeing the Christmas trees up for the first time, at least or at least as early as I can remember. And then I don't remember what I got my very first Christmas, but I remember I was just happy that there were presents and I was able to open them and that they were mine. So. But the earliest one I remember was the one when I was 5, when I got the NES. That one I did recall. That was the earliest one that I can recall. So, but what made my Christmases, we always opened in the morning. We always opened Christmas morning. So I woke up, I go to bed Christmas Eve night. I wake up next morning and there'd be presents. There were a few times where I woke up too early and there were no presents under the tree. This was like 1 or 2 in the morning. There were some Christmases where I was super duper, like I couldn't sleep. I was too excited to go to sleep. So, so I was a little disappointed. But then I thought, well, maybe he doesn't come at this time. Maybe he comes in a couple hours. So I went back to bed.
I think he comes when the local coffee shops open.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I used to leave cookies and milk. I used to leave cookies and milk in the living room right by the Christmas tree. I never knew about the celery for the reindeer, Marty. I never knew about that one. I always thought the reindeers ate carrots or something, but I guess
we do the carrots.
Yeah.
I always leave a cold beer for Santa too.
Cold beer.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, it wasn't until I was 8 years old my parents just pulled me aside one day. And were like, "There's no Santa Claus," and it was heartbreaking. I was like, "Well, why did you tell me all these years to believe in Santa Claus?" I don't think I ever got an answer to that. But
I think the best way to, for me, I my parents kind of let me find out on myself, or find out by myself. I think they trusted that, you know, I would eventually learn on my own. And in my circle of friends, and I know that I do this all the time, and my wife kind of points this out. And those of you who aren't from like the Midwest or Chicago or even the US, when we say our age, I usually say in third grade or in fourth grade or in kindergarten. I'm thinking I was 9 years old, but it was in the third grade, where a friend of mine, I asked him point blank, I'm like, "Do you believe in Santa Claus?" And he's like, "Well, do you want the real answer?" I'm like, "Well, sure." He's like, and he told me, and he said, "That's what my mom told me." And he was in fourth grade. It was Anthony Dalkey. So it wasn't that anyone spoiled it for me, but just through my, inquisition and asking and, you know, about it, I eventually found out. But dude, if I was 7 in first grade and my parents said, "Listen, you're too old to be like believing in Santa Claus," I probably would have sobbed. So like for me, it was like third grade, but no later than fourth grade is when we, at least my circle of friends, were at least open about not believing in Santa. Because the big thing you got to worry about too is kids spoiling it for other kids.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I remember how we found out too, me and my siblings. I don't remember the exact age, but it was like roughly the same age, probably like 7 or 8 or so. My parents bought a video camera, and they taped themselves like wrapping everything and didn't think to take the tape out. So we're like doing like the playback on the video camera, and me and my brother and sister are sitting there watching them wrap and put away all the presents that came from Santa. So yeah, that's how we found out.
Dude, that's like that trope in movies. It's like that trope in movies where like someone's like giving a presentation or like showing a video like in class or at like some business meeting, and they play the video and it's a video of them like cheating on their wife or
Oh
something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, it's actually those.
yeah.
They're so bad. Well, gentlemen, looks like I made it to my goal. My goal was $250. We made it to $251.
All right.
So everyone that's donated, thank you. And I've everyone that I know of, everyone that's added, I added you to this little carousel that I'm going to spin right now. So the first prize that I'm going to spin for is for the Nerdporeal mug. So, all right, drum roll, please. And here we go. Let's see who wins that Nerdporeal mug. Looks like Brian, you won the Nerdporeal mug. So now I need a pen and paper to write this down so I remember that you won.
Yeah. I'll
For
give you my address
he's
some
a
other
jolly
time.
good fellow.
For he's a jolly good fellow, which nobody can deny. Here we go. The Nerdporeal mug goes to Brian. All right,
You know what?
congrats, Brian.
I've always thought about like how, not that we would like break the news to my daughter, but like once she found out, like what I would say to her. And I think it would be something like now you're on our side, like making the magic happen for the younger people who still believe, kind of thing. So you still got to keep it secret, and you can be a part of picking the presents. You can be a part of pretending, and you can be a part of telling everyone it's still real.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Me and you should do a dad stream one of these days, or two dads and an uncle stream. I
Yeah.
love that.
All right. So, question: what Christmas gifts really made you? Like, what were the gifts that you remember the most? I'll save myself for last. So, Brian.
Um, honestly, my gifts weren't always like super memorable. The Christmas day in my family wasn't like the big shebang. It was all like I have like a huge extended family, so it was all like the family parties. That was like the awesome part about the holidays. But like the gifts were just I don't know, a lot of standard stuff. Like I remember getting a bike, I remember getting like Connects and Legos and all that kind of stuff. Um, so I don't know. I honestly don't really remember any like gifts that was just like, oh wow, this is like what I always wanted. I can't believe it, kind of thing. But
Like is there like any particular toy or something that you played with the most or something?
um, not from Christmas. It was always like off holiday stuff. Like my dad was just like the kind of person who would just be like, I'm gonna go buy a Nintendo now. I'm gonna go buy a computer now. I got a bike for Christmas, which is awesome to get a bike, but not not really the time to get a bike as a gift. You can't even ride it in all the snow.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
Same with like rollerblades. I mean, we got some like cool stuff, um, but I don't know. Like once I was older, I started asking for like clothes and stuff. I got like a really cool like coat that I still like own to this day. That kind of stuff. Um, yeah, my I always liked when gifts were not so much like tangible, but more like events, like a night out at a nice dinner or something like that, or like we would go up and spend Christmas at like some family in Indiana or Wisconsin, and having like a little short Christmas vacation kind of thing was always nice, and like that was like my favorite parts about the holidays.
That's cool. What about you, Marty?
Um, li- like we were saying before, like nostalgia is something that hits me really hard, and I think about Christmases of past all the time. And I'm not always 100% sure if like these are actual memories or like memories I fabricated in my mind, but a few gifts that I remember receiving um, was I was a big action figure kid. So like generally I would get always a few action figures um, every Christmas. I remember probably this was the Christmas kindergarten, um, where so I was 6 years old. I remember I got and contrary to kind of like Brian getting a bike for in the middle of winter, I got a sled. I remember I got like this blue toboggan. Um, I got Hot Wheels, so those Hot Wheels tracks. I got a few of those, and I got Sega Genesis that year. Um,
Oh, wow.
and Sega Genesis was my first video game system. Um, and I didn't originate as a Nintendo kid, but I definitely switched teams since then. I'm all about Nintendo now. But um, and then I remember another gift. Like I would always get like a craft gift. And back in the 90s and 80s, there were a lot of unique like toy items. Toys now are definitely more digital. That that they definitely aren't uh, what they were. And I remember like getting creepy crawlers. I don't know if you guys remember those things.
I remember those
Um,
things.
Oh yeah,
and I got the I guess the little boy version of an Easy Bake Oven, or a little boy version of an Easy Bake Oven. It was like this Mad Professor set where you made all this like
Oh, I remember.
terrible
I remember
candy by
those.
mixing these
Yeah.
chemicals together. Yeah. And I remember that like I know my dad bought me that because like I would open it and I would be like, Mommy, can we play with this? And my mom would be like, no way. But then my dad later on that night would, played that stuff with me. Another big one I remember was fourth grade, which would have been, I guess you turn 9 that year. I got, or do you turn 10 that year? 10 that year. I got Nintendo 64. I didn't believe in Santa Claus. That was actually my first full year not believing in Santa Claus. And I got a Nintendo 64 that year with Mario 64 and Mortal Kombat trilogy. And I had all the Mortal Kombat games as a, like a first and second grader on Sega Genesis. But I remember that, and that's when, I pretty much went all in Nintendo. I received GameCube as a Christmas gift in the 8th grade. And then after the GameCube, I purchased all my systems. Well, actually, I take that back. My wife actually has got me my PS4 and my Nintendo Switch. If anyone's, if anyone wants to tell her to get me a PS5, I'd be happy with that too. But, kind of like to also, Brian, with a wise point, like, it was so great getting all these material items that you enjoy, but it felt different getting something on Christmas. It wasn't what it was. It wasn't necessarily that like, oh shit, I got Sega. Sega's the coolest system ever. I'm so happy to have it. But it was just kind of that magic of like, especially when you're a kid, not knowing what you're going to get, and then waking up and Santa Claus came to your house and left you something that you're special. And that it's kind of hard to explain that to somebody without that isn't familiar with Christmas, without sounding overly materialistic, because that's not what Christmas is about. It's not about receiving. You could argue it's about giving, but it's just like that magic, and that magic you lose as you get older. It's almost like chasing a high. And, I feel a little bit like Clark Griswold, where I'm like, I want that magic. I want that, magical family, good old fashioned family Christmas, as he says.
Yeah. Where he's the only one who's in awe of all the lights.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk about, here's my point of view on what you just said, Marty. Well, as a kid, we're young, we're little, as Heather McAllister says, we're completely helpless. Well, that's not true, but let's just say we're prone to receiving gifts on Christmas. That's basically what a kid does. It's something that's part of our tradition and stuff. And the way I see it now, as I'm an adult, I see it as basically, it's basically my turn to give. So you start off receiving as a kid, and as you get older, it transitions into giving. So the same feeling I get, because now I can I'm single, I can buy whatever I want whenever I want to. So, receiving gifts, I mean, unless it's like something super duper, like, something that's, priceless, that's something that, money can't buy, if someone made something particularly for you or something. Yeah. But for the most part, I like to give, and especially to your kids in particular, you, Marty, and you, Brian. So, and I've been doing it for quite a while now.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, he's excited for his gift. So, but yeah, I mean, what made my holidays when I was growing up, and I'm sure I mean, my videos have talked about this quite a bit. I was a Nintendo fan before I was a fan of really anything else. I mean, I watched, old Disney cartoons, the old Disney shorts on VHS when I was a kid. That was basically how I learned how to use the VCR in the first place. I was like 2 or 3 years old, so I knew how to operate the VCR to watch either Donald Duck or Daft or Porky Pig. Those were the two tapes that we owned. So it was either those two. And then, I started watching cartoons. I started watching shows like DuckTales, and I started watching. I started watching the Mario Super Show, and this was shortly after I got the NES. And the NES was the very first earliest Christmas I remember. This was Christmas of '89. So I was not a big action figure guy at all. So maybe it was my lack of imagination as a kid. I have tremendous amount of ADD and stuff. I was in special ed and occupational therapy as a kid. So I just never really got into action figures. I mean, I had them. I never really played with them. I'm like, what do I do with this? Unless you have kids to show off your toys to or something, or you have not kids, friends to show off your toys to, or if you just had so many of them that you kind of pretended to, have them fight each other, which is something I never really did myself. Because maybe it's because I watched too much TV and it kind of rotted my brain as a kid. Who knows? But but yeah, I used to. The things that I really liked were getting a video game every year, or getting a movie or a TV show or something on video. So when I was a kid, I used to get the VHSs of like I got Home Alone one year. I got their VHS versions of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. And in those versions, they actually had, pop music. Like some of the episodes had like Danger Zone, from Top Gun. And they had Magic Carpet Ride when there was an episode where Mario and them were flying on a magic carpet, get it? But yeah, but because of how the music industry is now, the music industry is now you can't put any pop music on, DVDs or Blu-rays because save money, I guess. But yeah, so I used to get those, and then when I was an adolescent, I started collecting Star Trek episodes on VHS. So I used to always look forward to getting new Star Trek episodes on VHS, or getting movies or video games. Those were the main video games and movies and TV shows on video were the main mediums that I looked forward to receiving each year. And sometimes there were books too. So like one year I got the Star Trek Encyclopedia and the Star Trek Chronology. So hence why I know, and I used to read those. So hence why I know so much about Star Trek prior to 1996. So, but between those and Nintendo, those were what really made my Christmas. Sorry, Brian, go ahead.
When you were talking about action figures, it made me think that I got them year round. So I'm sure I got them like a couple of them on Christmas, but I can't really remember like which or exactly when I got what. But I always loved the Ninja Turtles action figures.
I had one. I had the Donatello, I believe.
Yeah, I had a bunch of them, and like that was definitely like one of the action figures that I was like really into. That and like,
dude, I had action figures that were probably, if I would have taken care of them, if I wouldn't have broken them, if I would have, kept the boxes, of course, but just kept them in mint condition, would be worth thousands of dollars. I had really one funny thing about action figures. I don't know if you guys kind of remember this, but like they made all these action figures of like R-rated movies that a kid would never see. So like I had, speaking of Brian giving away Alien, the first 4 Alien movies on DVD, I had all the Aliens action figures. I've never saw Aliens, but I was obsessed with it to the point where I begged my parents to watch Alien like when I was like in second grade, and it was actually my first R-rated movie, and I think I fell asleep with it because the suspense was lost on me as a kid. And I had like the Terminator toys, and again another hugely phenomenal movie, but something that doesn't really translate with a kid. I had weird toys like Beetlejuice action figures, and I just had so many action figures, um, and Nerdporeal. Um, I don't really agree with your notion of being like not associating action figures with being an introvert, because I would be by myself in a room for hours inside, just make believing. And it does require complete make believe, but I never played with kids. And, to this day, I don't have a lot of friends. I mean, like, I have you two guys. That's about it. But, and it was something that for me was an outlet almost to socialize. Um, Socialize as someone with split personality would socialize, because you're kind of creating this almost like this film and this script. But I loved them. I loved them.
I did always like getting Legos for Christmas too.
Oh yeah, Legos I liked.
Yeah.
I liked Legos because it was something I could do by myself, because once again, like I spent a lot of time by myself. Hence why,
Well, that's something that my dad would actually like break away from the computer and do with me.
really.
So like, I have pretty bad ADD too, and I'm pretty sure I inherited it from my dad. And like Legos and ADD, I feel like go hand in hand. So yeah, that's something he would like lay on the floor and do Legos with me.
Yeah, I liked. I built some of the easier sets. I don't remember exactly what I built, but I remember building some of the easier sets growing up. I kind of want to build some more sets now. I kind of want to build some more sets now. Now that
Oh, nice.
there's a lot of people out there that do Lego streams now, and I see what they do, and I just like kind of makes me want to do it again. So
Yeah.
just for
I
fun.
still, yeah, I do. I get into it with my kid. I even have like a big box that my mom had kept um, all those years of like my Legos from when I was a kid. And it was like, as soon as I thought she was old enough, I was like, this is one of my favorite toys when I was a kid. Hope you enjoy them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. All right. So I think it's time for another spin the wheel. So let me share the screen again.
Big money. Let's go alien, baby.
All right, I'll do Alien then. All right, fine. Where did the wheel go? All right. And here we go. Here's for the Alien Blu-ray. I got my pen and paper here. And it looks like you win, Marty.
people are going to think
Look at
this,
that.
people are going to think this game is rigged.
I don't know. I don't. Hey, I had nothing to do with it. I just simply spun the wheel. I let fate decide this one. All right, so
Put
you
in the
won.
universe, man.
Well, okay. This is your Christmas present. I was considering buying you something, but now I don't have to.
Bro, that's not my Christmas present. Remember, I talked all this bullshit about materialism, but I want stuff.
All right, so where were we talking about? Oh yeah, so some further traditions is basically watching holiday stuff. I mean, there's the infamous Star Wars holiday special that I've watched the last few years that is awful, but it's hilarious at the same time. And it does have an awesome Boba Fett cartoon. It is actually the first time you ever see Boba Fett, I believe. And of course, for for me, the big tradition it's on every Christmas Eve is It's a Wonderful Life, and which is what I'm actually currently watching. 'Cause I have to watch that because I have to do a video, and I have 3 videos I have to do before before Christmas Eve. So I'm going to be pretty busy next several days. So, but It's a Wonderful Life is probably the ultimate Christmas movie. It's not my favorite movie, but I still think it's a really good movie. And I think the story it tells about George Bailey is just a wonderful thing. And believe it or not, the first time I saw that movie was not, or the first time I ever saw an image from that movie was not on TV. It was actually another movie called Home Alone.
Never heard.
And you never heard of it? Yeah, it stars some guy named Macaulay, or I think his name's Macaulay or something.
Oh, that was Michael Jackson's friend, right?
Yeah, it was Mike. Yeah, it was Michael Jackson's friend. So that was. I mean, I'll be honest. Home Alone is my first Christmas movie. I mean, I'm going to say this in my review, but it really was. Like, I was like 5 or 6 when it came out. I actually saw it in the theater, and I remember during that whole segment with the bandits, with the wet bandits springing every single trap. My mother would cover my eyes during the more violent parts. I remember especially the when he steps on the needle was one, and I forget what the other one was. Oh, when Marv hits Harry in the chest with the crowbar because the spider was on his was crawling onto him and stuff. Those were the 2 I remember.
The blowtorch on the head.
Yes, and I love that movie so much. We went on vacation the next summer. It was summer of '91, and between Home Alone and the Simpsons arcade game was what kept me sane throughout that trip, because it was mostly driving, going to sports games, or we went to the Baseball Hall of Fame, which I think was pretty cool in retrospect. But at the time, I was just bored. I was not one of those kids that was into sports. So it was the Simpsons arcade game, which was everywhere. Every hotel had one, and every hotel had Home Alone. You could rent Home Alone, so we always watched Home Alone. So when I heard there was when I was in 2nd grade and the sequel came out, I was like, oh, I have to see this, and it was even more violent, especially with the brick, especially hitting him in the head with the brick like 4 times.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about you. What do you guys think? What were your favorite Christmas movies?
Well, I was going to say one of my other favorite holiday traditions, is when me and you would go into the city and pick up the cupcakes and then get Polish food after.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's delicious.
That's always one of my faves. But like movie-wise, it was always Christmas Story. Ever since they did like that 24-hour run. Like I would legit, how many times do they play it in a day? Probably like 12 times, once every 2 hours or so. I probably would legit watch it all the way through like 6 or 7 times over the course of that day. Every year. Yeah, that movie.
What's your favorite part of that movie?
The rabbit pajamas one. The phone call.
I forgot the phone call.
She puts the soap in his mouth.
Oh yeah, and he's like, oh, I heard it from this kid.
Yeah.
And then they call her, and that was back in the good old days when parents used to whack their kids quite a bit. Discipline.
Yeah, a lot of good that does people.
Yeah, it didn't do any good in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I was like one of the only people on my. I got some family members who definitely got the soap treatment, and they did not turn out good. So it's not
fudge.
Yeah, soap doesn't make.
Brian, did they go blind after the soap treatment?
Blind to their decision making, maybe.
Wow, the funniest part, or one of the most ridiculous parts that I saw recently, is when they take the kids to Santa Claus. They take the kids up the stairs to Santa Claus, and then you have these like attendants, these attendants, these assistants, and they're just yanking the kids in their arms like they're rag dolls. They're like, get over here, get over here, we're gonna close. And they're just yelling at the kids, and the kids are just screaming, especially his brother. His brother just I forget if he cries or he just screams and stuff, but that's all he does.
Yeah.
And then I think the kid before was it was a traumatic experience going to see Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah.
And then of course, even Ralphie gets traumatized. He gets a little speechless himself. But then he climbs up the stairs. He's like, I want the gun. I could not get what he was saying. I just knew it was gun. And then, you're gonna put your eye out, kid. And he kicks him down the slide.
Do you guys remember going to Santa's?
First,
kids?
he says he wants a football.
Oh yeah, then he's halfway down the slide and he's like, wait,
I wanted the gun.
I don't ever remember going to see Santa as a kid.
I think I did a couple times at the Harlem Irving Plaza, which there was always a line.
You guys didn't have a neurotic mother. I went to see Santa Claus way after not believing in Santa Claus.
Really?
Because that was a family picture opportunity for us.
Yeah.
And my brother's 10 years younger than I am.
So you went to see your younger. So you went with your younger siblings to see Santa Claus and stuff. Interesting.
You know what else I liked watching? All the Christmas Simpsons episodes.
Oh yeah, that was one thing I did own on VHS was the first episode, Simpsons roasting on an open fire, which is actually the very first Simpsons episode, I believe.
Yeah.
89. That's one where they get Santa's little helper, and Bart gets it. Bart thinks that his mother would be happy with getting a tattoo of mother with a heart on his arm, and it just freaks her out. And she ends up spending all the Christmas bonus money on getting the tattoo removed. So they're kind of out of luck when it came to gifts and stuff. So they got a dog. So
yeah,
I learned that being a Santa Claus does not pay in that episode. You get maybe $5 to play Santa Claus or something.
I don't know. They probably make pretty decent money nowadays.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved. I don't know what other. I don't remember. When I think Simpsons, I think of the Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah.
I don't remember any other Christmas episodes other than that very first episode.
Well, there was the one with the Bone Crusher. What's the video game? Bone something. Where he steals the video game.
Oh yeah, and you see Mario. You actually see Mario in that episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was a pretty messed up. That was a pretty messed up episode.
Yeah. There's always a good. They always pulled on the heartstrings on those holiday episodes.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I watched a lot of the sitcoms growing up, so I remember watching a lot of the holiday episodes for Roseanne and Home Improvement and the whatever, all the Friday shows.
Family Matters, Step by Step.
Yeah. Full House.
I remember the Family Matters Christmas episodes. I used to love those. I used to love watching those.
Yeah.
Of course, they'd always have CBS would always have Charlie Brown Christmas on the week or two before, Christmas Day and stuff. I have to watch Rudolph. I added a clip of Rudolph in my opening segment, so I have to watch Rudolph. I might cover that next year or next time I do Christmas stuff. So, so who's ready for another giveaway? So
you don't want to ask me what my favorite movies are, Brian?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot, Marty. I forgot. You're Marty the father. I have to remember.
Father.
My bad, Marty. What are your favorite movies?
It's almost one of my favorite genre of films, so you're gonna hear me on my pedestal again.
Yep.
So I would think that my most important holiday tradition viewing is Charlie Brown Christmas. I know that it, came out in 1965, way, 23 years before I was born, but there's something extremely nostalgic about it for me. Probably because of just watching it as a kid. And I really like those 60s Christmas specials. I mean, I love a Charlie Brown Christmas. I love the message. I I rewatch. I'm a big Peanuts fan. I'm actually wearing like a Grateful Dead Peanuts shirt right now.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
See if you could get Jerry Garcia right there. But
Yeah.
I I I have always been a really big fan of the Peanuts, and the one thing about Charlie Brown Christmas is how Charlie Brown has a very kind of negative, you know, connotation at the beginning, but and how mean and brutal these kids are to him. At the end, he's like, you know what? I'm not going to let anyone ruin my Christmas. And he really embraces that notion of like Christmas is a feeling. It's not commercialism. It's not getting stuff. It's this state of mind. And and I love that message. I also am a big fan of the Rankin Bass, Christmas movies. My mom loved them as a kid, so I remember when we were kids, my mom bought us all the Rankin Bass movies on VHS. So like Santa Claus Comes to Town, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I watch those every year. And I mean, they're totally meant for kids, but again, I say it's like chasing that high. It's this nostalgia trip that I love to take once a year.
They're timeless.
I'm also exactly. I'm also a big fan of Christmas Vacation. That's a hilarious movie, and in my opinion, the best comedy Christmas movie and the best vacation movie. Gremlins is one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Yeah.
I just think it's an awesome movie. So that's a must watch. I do love A Christmas Story. I love when he says fudge and his mom calls his friend, and on the other line, like, do you know where he heard it from? Oh, it must have been his father. No, heard it from your son. And then you're
Yeah, it was terrible.
and I remember like seeing that. I'm like, holy cow. But and then Scud Farkas, who can forget him? He had yellow eyes, the bully. Again, just a huge thing that I carry on from my childhood to now. And I can't get enough of it. I'm always watching these movies. I'm always trying to relive them. And, I do want to talk about It's a Wonderful Life, not the plot or the synopsis, but that movie used to scare the shit out of me. And you would say, like, how does A Wonderful Life scare the shit out of you? Dude, the first 5 minutes with that drunk pharmacist, when he hits George Bailey in the ear and he starts bleeding,
he starts crying.
Like a traumatic. I saw that. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I watching?
I was just watching that myself last night, and it's still even as an adult, I'm still shaken by that. So yeah, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I mean, I was just like, oh my goodness, as a kid, like I couldn't watch it. I thought it was like a horror movie after seeing that.
Yeah,
and
so
then, Home Alone.
You do know the context of that scene, right? It was the pandemic of 1918, the influenza war. And because this takes place I think that took place in 1919, he found out his son was in college, and he just found out that he just got a telegram saying that his son died. Like he just found out that his son died. So hence why he,
and he was an alcoholic.
Yeah. He was obviously, alcoholic. He put poison in the pills by mistake, and George didn't deliver them. Mm-hmm. So that's why he was smacking him.
And I mean, I've watched that movie since, and I love it.
That was the
another
basis for
funny-
Gremlins. That was the basis for Gremlins. I mean, they just took they took that town, that beautiful town. Everybody knows each other. You have your measerly character, and this time you just add monsters. You add monsters to the mix, and hence Gremlins is basically It's a Wonderful Life with monsters. I'm
Never
not
thought
I'm not
about it that
joking.
way, but that does make sense. It makes sense.
Yeah.
I see the connection now. I also loved the Home Alone movies. Um, funny story. Um, the when the second movie was when they were like showing the commercials, they had all the promotional posters. Dude, Macaulay Culkin as the Statue of Liberty going like this. I remember my mom
Yeah.
took me to see the 101 Dalmatians went back in the theater when I was a kid, and I had to leave early because that image scared the shit out of me. I'm not a fearful person, but those are two off-colored things that scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Wow. Oh, but yeah, I love those. I love Home Alone movies. I love Gremlins. First Gremlins is great. It's Joe Dante, but with there's a lot of that Spielberg schmaltz in it.
Marty, did you watch that 8-Bit Christmas? Oh, he stepped off camera.
Oh, I have to see that. I still
I
have
know
to
we
see that. We were
talked
talking
about
about it.
Yeah.
You said it was on Netflix or was it on Amazon?
HBO.
It was on HBO.
Yeah.
8-Bit
Very good.
Christmas.
Yeah.
8-Bit. Okay, I'll have to watch it.
Very well done. I really liked it a lot.
And who
Not
was
as
in it?
good as Christmas Story, but
But it was basically, you said it was Christmas Story in the 80s, right?
I saw it.
Yeah, you did? Did you like it?
Yes, that's
I thought it was awesome.
I would say that's the fairest. I did like it. I think the only person I recognized was Neil Patrick Harris, and and the actor that played his father is in a lot of stuff as
Steve
well.
Zahn.
He was in that White Lotus show that was on HBO recently.
Yeah.
Um,
Steve Zahn. He was in.
but I liked it a lot.
Yeah, it was great. I liked it a lot too. A lot of good like one-liner jokes that hit really well. Good plot. I like the way they like captured the character of that era of like do-it-yourself dad tropes. Yeah, it was nice.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing
Yeah,
that.
it is
Now,
HBO Max.
okay, HBO Max. All right, I'll definitely have to watch it then. All right, now's our next giveaway for Nerdporeal T-shirts. So hold on to your butts. Let's start another spin. Here she goes, around and around and around she goes. Congratulations, Mr. Jake D gets a Nerdporeal T-shirt. I'll message you in Discord. All right. Okay.
One of my favorite like winter things to do of all time is sledding, which is probably like an obvious choice for a lot of people.
Oh yeah, I haven't. When was the last? I have not sled in a long time.
Yeah, I've gone like last year.
Dude, and
with
do
all
you
the
know
snow we
how
got.
like
Go ahead.
it's awesome, and
Yeah.
it's such a unique. Like my wife is from LA, and I explained, like she's heard of sledding, but she's like, oh, can adults do that? I'm like, yeah, adults can do that. And
Have you gone with your kid yet?
there's a sledding hill by my parents' house. Yeah, we
Yeah.
we had like a saucer, and we actually went off a ramp together.
Nice.
But he was one then, so he
Yeah.
doesn't remember any of it. It was probably borderline child endangerment.
Well, it's snow. How hurt could he get?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember going sledding at the Forest Preserve, not too far from the Superdog. in Chicago. There's like
Yeah,
a forest preserve right there. And that's where we actually went sledding.
The big toboggan hills there.
Yeah.
We used to go down those backwards on our sleds. I
I'll be
always
honest.
remember doing that.
I'll be honest. I was scared at first because I was scared of heights and stuff. You couldn't get me to jump off the diving board, much less try to get me to go sledding. But I went sledding and I realized it wasn't so bad. So
Yeah.
I had a little red sled and it was like child size, and I never really went sledding after that. I mean, the closest thing was actually in Marty's bachelor event at the Wisconsin Dells, where we went tubing because I couldn't ski or snowboard to save my life, and plus my feet are so wide. It hurt whenever I tried to try on the skis or snowboard. So I decided to have fun without any skill. So what is that? That's tubing, and tubing's basically sledding for adults.
Yeah, tubing is fun.
It's a lot of fun.
For sure.
So, I haven't. I kind of want to do that again. No, I just love tubing. And there was one time someone had a snow speeder, and I was holding on. I was just sitting on the tube. I was holding on to like a rope and stuff, and they were pulling me with the. They were pulling me along with the tube and stuff. It was a workout with my biceps. I was like, wow. I was in high school when this happened. Yeah, it was crazy.
Nice. Yeah, last year was like a great winter for sledding. There was a lot of snow and it stayed around for a long time. And they had at my daughter's school, they had like a little hill, like a retention pond behind the school, and we were going sledding like almost every day. It was great.
Really interesting. So I'm running out of things to talk about. So, do we? So I'm guessing I'm guessing you guys always had a Christmas tree up. Like having a Christmas tree up was like super duper important to my parents and stuff.
Live Christmas tree or fake Christmas tree?
Well, we always. I was going to ask. We always had fake Christmas tree. We always kept in the basement, just basically a pole with some branches and stuff, and then we just decorated with ornaments. Why you? Do you guys ever use
live
real or really?
Oh yeah, I love the smell. I love the sap. I love needing to set it up and picking it out every year and finding one that's tall enough but still fits through the door. Yeah.
How you, Mark?
It's another tradition, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's it's just another thing to do. For me, we actually have two Christmas trees. We have a fake one, and then we get a real one every year. And kind of as Brian said, it's there is a certain allure that's lost in a fake tree. Having a live one, having that Tannenbaum, that tradition that's been going on forever. Live tree in the house is awesome, and I always burn them. Usually in the summer. I forgot to burn my Christmas tree last year, so maybe on New Year's we'll chop it up and burn it in the backyard while you guys are over. But
I never thought to do that.
I think that Christmas trees are also it's something that's like intertwined and kind of folded into our
consciousness,
our cultural identity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would not feel right. Like I wouldn't, if I'm still alive and not senile, I wouldn't feel right not having a Christmas tree, in the house. And I saw a question from It's Courtney Fellowship of the Oddballs, favorite ornaments. I certainly did as a kid. I remember as, full of myself as I am. When I was a kid, I loved the ones I made for my mom. And I would just be so proud of it. Like, my mom be like, okay, you can put that on the back of the Christmas tree. I'm like, nah, Mom, this is going front and center. I made this for you in the first grade. And now I think I try to make a effort to buy at least like if we go like somewhere special or new, we like to buy a Christmas ornament. It's a cool family keepsake.
Yeah,
It's like
for
it's a
sure.
cool thing to, you know, because like who the fuck needs any more knickknacks and bullshit on their shelves? That's a knickknack you put on a Christmas tree.
Yeah,
It's
you see
like
it for a
who
couple
needs
weeks a
a
year, and then it's away.
exactly.
How about you, Brian? Do you have any favorite ornaments or
Uh,
anything that you
not
put
that
on?
not that I'm still in possession of. Well, I shouldn't say like none, but over the years, like how many times I've moved and how many times my parents have moved and stuff, we don't have like barely anymore. But there is like a little doll of like that was made for me as a baby, like when I was born in 1984. So that I think that I don't know if that's the only one I have left, but that's the only one I remember. And only because my daughter pointed it out to me the other day. I was like, I didn't even know I still had this thing.
Yeah, my
Well,
my mom still has the ones we made up on her tree right now. And I show my son, I'm like, that's daddy. And he's like, no, that's not daddy.
Yeah, my if you made an ornament for my mom, she would cry, guaranteed. It didn't matter what it looked like, right up until she passed away. So even when we were like in our 30s, if you made her an ornament, she would have cried.
no, no.
It's special. It's one of the
Yeah.
most special things.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's one of those
Christmas is
priceless.
special to all of us.
Yeah, I mean it's nice. It's like I think it's the most popular holiday in the world. To be frank, like it's I think it's celebrated everywhere. Like even those that are not Christian, like people celebrate. I mean Christmas, or at least they celebrate aspects of Christmas and
Dude,
stuff.
I don't know. Chinese New Year might have Christmas Eve.
before I forget, I need to say this, and the Nerdporeal made me think of this. So I had, I actually um, had I was walking through a Christmas store, and the they had a Santa Claus, and the Santa Claus was wearing like a dressed like Santa normally is, but was wearing a scarf with two stars of David on him. So Santa Claus has crossed through the Christian boundary and threshold and has penetrated other holidays. And if I don't know, if, I guess Santa Claus in his very essence is commercialism, but I sent a picture to Yo when I saw that, Brian. I sent him a picture of Yo. I'm like, you guys now have Santa Claus. But growing up, I grew up in, I wouldn't say an extremely culturally diverse community, but we had I had a lot of friends growing up who weren't Christian or Catholic, which I mean, all my friends were Catholic or not Christian growing up. And I had a lot of friends who were Muslim, they were Palestinian, they all celebrated Christmas. I had friends who were, practice Hinduism, they celebrated Christmas. It was just, again, it's kind of transcended its Christian identity for better or worse.
Yeah,
Um,
it's very cultural now.
and it's become something, yeah.
I mean, they even celebrate it in like Japan. Well, they don't celebrate in China, but some people in Japan celebrate it. It's celebrated all over the world. So, I mean, this is like I mean, this people have been celebrating this holiday for 2 millennia now, and I don't see it going away anytime soon. It's one of our most timeless traditions, and it's just something that
The
we need to
world will
continue.
end before Christmas stops.
Exactly, I agree. And yeah, I mean, so yeah, let's just like I'm just happy that we continue to pass along our traditions down to kids and stuff, young our your children and stuff. And I mean, it's part of our identity. I mean, this is one of many things that just make up our identity as human beings and stuff. So I know not everybody celebrates Christmas, but honestly, I think even though it's pretty much a Christian holiday, I think Christmas is for anybody, everybody. Everybody can celebrate it if they want to. I mean, the whole point of Christmas, in my opinion, and I say it in my little Christmas poem in my intro. It's basically to bring joy to others, whether it's whether it's by giving, or whether it's by telling good news, which is what the original idea of Christmas is. Hence why Linus and Charlie Brown Christmas recites the Annunciation. When the angel appears to the shepherds, and then glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill towards men. You know, so
In the city of David.
Yep, that's the city of David. So,
Chicago?
which David are you? Which David? I don't get it. Which David are you thinking?
Oh, I'm joking. Chicago's the city of David.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
maybe Skokie.
Skokie.
I'm thinking Bethlehem.
Bethlehem. I wonder if Bethlehem's still around.
Yeah, it is. I actually looked it up the other day.
Is it in Israel, or is it another country?
Israel. It's the Arab capital of Israel. So
okay.
It still exists.
I see. So, you guys have anything else to add? I'll go on to my next giveaway.
Go to the giveaway.
No, spin. Let us think.
All right, I'll let you think. So the next giveaway is a Nerdporeal tumbler. So let's spin the wheel. And around and around and around she goes. Congratulations. The Fellowship of Oddballs, Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs won a Nerdporeal tumbler. So I'll message you on Discord. Further details. Congratulations.
Here's a question. What is the latest that you've ever gotten rid of your tree? Live tree, like needles.
For me, it's always going to be King's Day. So, again, wearing my Catholic and living in a Latino household colors. So that's January, usually like 15th. I get rid of it. So we keep it pretty late, and I keep all my lights up. But dude, as soon as that hits, it's down, and I ostracize all my neighbors who keep it up.
When we were younger, we've definitely had a couple of years where it's like spilled into February and possibly March. Just like a dry bone of a tree.
In my case, I've never had a live tree, ever. So when do we take it down? Well, we take it down like pretty much, I think like the day after New Year's Day is when we take down the Christmas tree. Take down all the ornaments and everything.
Yeah, we usually wait until at least January to take it down.
Yeah, I got a question. Have you ever, going back to Christmas decorations really quickly, have you ever put up like mangers on your lawn? Or I remember when I was a kid, people used to put on their stoops, their front stoops, either the toy soldiers or the candles, those giant candles that that light up. On the stoops. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we would do the toy soldiers and some like reindeer that light up outside of our house. Not a manger though.
What about you, Marty?
Yeah, we had a nativity growing up, and I mean we have one now, but it's inside. It's not like an outdoor one. And then outside when we were kids, we had, you know, again, and dude, I've been actually trying to look for these to see if you can still get them, but those like plastic like snowmen. I had like plastic snowmen, plastic Santa, plastic reindeer, and those have all kind of transformed into the inflatable. And I'm not like I told myself I'm never going to buy one of those damn inflatables. But then you have kids, and we have two small inflatables. But like there are people in my neighborhood that have. But dude, I was at this Christmas store, and there was a 22-foot tall inflatable, and I'm
Wow.
like, it was so tall that this was like a big box store. It was so tall that the head of the Santa Claus was like this on the ceiling.
Like a
It was like
wacky
something
alien.
like $700, but
Wow.
people buy that shit.
You know what I saw the other day on a neighbor's porch that I really want to get? It's like this like a metal wire, and it looks like it's covered in tinsel of like a R2D2. And I would love to get like that and C3PO. And it's like a good like 3 feet tall too, so it's like almost life size too. It's pretty cool. Something like that I would definitely like to get.
I'm surprised you can stand tinsel. That's not very festivus of you, is it?
Well, I did have an iron bar in my
Festivus isn't over until you pin me, Brian.
Or what was it? It was because he hated tinsel. Wasn't that why he came up with the in Seinfeld? That's why Frank Costanza couldn't started the holiday because he couldn't stand tinsel or something.
Something like that, yeah.
No, because he was trying to get a doll for George, and another guy stole it. And as he rained blows down upon him, he thought there had to be another way.
I have to watch that one again.
So instead, he just makes a worse holiday where you act worse.
That's another one I watch every year as well.
Your rain blows upon your son instead.
Raining blows. I knew there had to be another way. Oh, that show.
Uh,
All right. Okay. All right. I'm on to my very last, what do you call it? Giveaway. And it's probably the best giveaway of the night. It's a Nerdporeal hoodie. So is everybody ready? Is everybody ready to see who wins this grand prize?
let's do it.
Here we go. It looks like Punk Waddle won the Nerdporeal hoodie.
Dude, Punk Waddle, how
Congratulations.
many Nerdporeal hoodies do you already have? Punk Waddle has to have 3 or 4 of them.
Hey, Admiral, if you want to spin again, one of them two can have my mug since I already have 2 of them.
That's true. That's true. All right.
I'm not giving up Alien. Sorry, folks.
Marty, you're great. Like Charlie Brown, you're a great man. Okay. All right. So next one up is for the Nerdporeal mug. So cross Brian off, and let's see who wins. Oh, Whoopa Troopa won that.
Close call.
All right. And to not leave Godzillionaire out of the mix, I'll send you a gift too. I'll figure it out. So once again, everybody, thank you so much for donating to this. This means a lot to me, and this means a lot to the families in Chicago that are going to benefit from this. So at the bottom of my Nerdporeal heart, thank you. So how should we close this? So I feel like this is the prime time to close.
Cheers.
Any closing thoughts and stuff? Start with Marty.
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, whether you celebrate it or not. Have a happy holiday season. Don't know what your situation or circumstances are, um, but try your best to be happy, be merry, and if given the opportunity to brighten someone else's day, do so. I know I'm going to look very much enjoy this Christmas, but I am very blessed, and I look forward to celebrating the holidays with this kid that should have been in bed an hour ago, and my two Bryans on New Year's. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Um, Enjoy your holiday, enjoy your time off from work, and that's it.
Thanks, Marty. What about you, Brian?
Cheers to everyone. Have a good night. Thanks for coming on. And it is my podcast debut. So it was a lot of fun. Definitely a lot of fun. And just like the topic that we're talking about is always like great. And I was kind of shocked that we so easily filled an hour and a half almost of time with it. And the nostalgia really brings a lot to the table. And, carrying on the traditions with family and friends and just making the best of it. And I feel like it's not even that hard to make the best of it personally, even if it's like down times. But yeah, love y'all. Have a good Christmas. Have a good New Year's and holiday and everything. And thanks for supporting my good friend Brian on his podcast. And yeah, you have a good one all.
Yeah, thank you, the Nerdporeal community for sure. And thank you, Nerdporeal Brian, for setting this up. I really do look forward to being a part of these things when you do have them.
Well, I'm glad to include you. I'm basically, these videos are going to be up as long as the internet's forever. These videos will be up forever, and you guys are practically immortalized now because of that. So,
still be watching in the year 3005.
Yeah. So once again, everybody, I kind of came up with this idea. There was a few other YouTubers that I follow. One's name is Coffee on Korban. He basically did a Thanksgiving stream where he basically had people on, and they donated to his charity and stuff. And I saw that, and I'm like, you know what? I want to do something similar. So, thank you, Coffee on Korban, for inspiring me to do this stream and stuff. I feel like this did some good and stuff. I'm happy that people were able to donate. If you couldn't donate, that's fine. I mean, it's very uncertain times we're living in right now, especially with all the inflation and stuff. So, once again, I really appreciate it. I love this time of the year. This is my first Christmas as a YouTuber, so I promised to put out 3 videos. So I have a lot of video work to do the next few days. So hopefully you'll see some videos out pretty soon and stuff. I'm still trying to finish writing my Home Alone script, and then I got to do Charlie Brown Christmas, and then It's a Wonderful Life. So I got a lot of stuff to write, and I got to audit, I got to record and edit. So, but once again, I mean, I'm going to try and watch some more Christmas movies this year. I plan to, cook some more delicious food, especially I'm going to make another turkey, obviously. But I do want to try, and this is something Marty actually done one year that I actually tried of his, and it's beef Wellington. So I want to try and make beef Wellington the way Gordon Ramsay makes it. So that's something I want to try and do for this holiday. And of course, wrapping. I tend to wrap the gifts each year and put them under the tree, and we generally open them Christmas morning. The thing was, I bought my own gift this year. I managed to get a PS5, but I don't think it's appropriate to put it under the tree. So,
excuse me?
Yeah,
a lot of streaming on that thing.
I got a PS5.
What? You didn't care to call me or text me or let me know?
I got a. Here's the thing. I got an email. I got an invite to do it. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't really do that. So, and I had to be quick about it. I had to like literally
I mean, just
I
share the news.
share the load.
That's huge news, Brian.
Fill out a text.
I actually I
I
almost
saw,
bought a
just go on
bundle
the so.
today, but I didn't want to.
When I was driving home, I think it was yesterday. I was driving home past the city hall and police station by where I live, and as I was driving by, I saw like a kid and two moms, and it looked like one of them was like buying the PS5 for their kid.
Really?
Yeah, so they were doing like one of those like Craigslist exchanges. It was funny. It made me think of like you getting yours too. Yeah.
Well, all right. Other than that, I mean, everybody, thanks for coming by. I mean, this was a really wonderful stream. Um, so, like, once again, Brian, Marty, thank you for joining me. You guys are good guys, friends in real life. If you guys ever get a chance, I'd love to see you make content eventually. Do your own content creation if you ever get the time. I know being parents is the hardest job in the world, so I don't blame you for not having any time for that. But I'd love to see it if you guys are ever bored enough, and had time. I'd love to see what you guys come up with and stuff. But yeah,
I would
and,
love to, Brian, but I'm also fine leeching onto you.
yeah, that's true too. So, but yeah, Marty and baby Marty and Brian, once again, thank you in the chat. Godzillionaire, Jake D, Punk Waddle, Blood Dragoon. It's Courtney's Fellowship of Oddballs. Anoa Moss, Highlander, Sadukar, who I think are the same person. Dave's Dimension, Pacific 414. Tim's Talk, and I'm trying to see if I missed anyone else. I don't think I did. If I didn't say your name, I apologize. But thanks for coming by. And if I don't see you, have a Merry Christmas, and have a safe holiday. Remember, everyone, stay Nerdporeal, and may the wings of Nerdporeals carry you all to happiness, especially as me and Brian go see Spider-Man right now. So everybody, have a good night. Take care.
Good night, everyone.